Yo, what's good, guys? We're back with another stream. Hope everybody's having an amazing day. It is Friday, September 12th. Bitcoin, SOL absolutely fucking exploding. What's next? Anybody who's been around for, even a couple months, maybe 6 months, probably already knows the answer to this question. But exciting times ahead for crypto. We got Galaxy Digital buying over $500 million this week, which explains the huge move up in SOL. We have Pump Fund making a little bit of waves in like the mainstream world with that guy taking off Bradley Martin's hat and absolutely getting slapped while collecting $30,000 in creator rewards, which is nuts. We'll talk about that. I think it's pretty limited, the selection in coins in that kind of CCM meta, whatever you want to call it. But again, it's super interesting to, something to keep an eye on and something I could see kind of taking on in the mainstream. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Bitcoin SOL, kind of what I see playing out next and what this big move up in Bitcoin, ETH, and SOL is going to mean for the next, for Q4 and into next year. I hope everybody who's listening to this stream, we've been very adamant for weeks since this correction started that this would just be a short-term period and that this correction would look very similar to the one we saw in June. I actually put out this tweet in August 29th, one of many. But did I stop sharing my screen? No, it's sharing. Put out this tweet in August 29th and didn't go quite down to 105, but no, I'm showing the tweet. But the sorry, I was talking to my producer guys, but Bitcoin didn't go quite down to 105, but played out pretty fucking on point. Again, to me, just chart wise, fundamental wise, but especially this corrective chart looked very similar to June, where it came back, retested the all time high, came back down, made one more low. It's the same thing here, and it went back all the all time highs. The most important part here, and why I'm extremely bullish, even in the short term here, is because of how impulsive this move is out of it. To not go too much into it, what you want to see out of these corrections to kind of confirm that the next move has started is impulsivity. Impulsivity is how fast the move up is. Essentially, you want to see big green candles up out of these corrections, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. So I do think Bitcoin goes to 140K plus here, possibly way higher. And again, I keep saying this again, the last time Bitcoin went up 100 from last year, from fall to winter of 2024, Bitcoin went from 50,000 to 110,000 in that time. Great memes, for example, Giga, SPX, Mog, ticker Bitcoin, all those went up 7 to 10x. And that was in this last move up here in April, just in this last 3 months here. What do you think is going to happen if we get 6+ months of this kind of Bitcoin price action, I think, especially in memes, the gains are gonna shock a lot of people. So Bitcoin moving up strong. Obviously, we have Sol moving up even stronger. Like we talked about here at the top of the show, we have Galaxy Digital, Mike Novogratz, buying buying 500 million, I believe, in Sol just this week. I guess I got to be more specific here. Buying 500, buying a total of 2 million Sol, worth 486 million acquired in the last 24 hours. Excuse me. So lots of talk around this. Obviously, the DAT narrative and Treasury narrative will get interesting. May get overheated at some time, but again, I think this is just the early signs of institutional capital really kind of coming in the right way, or in a big way. So I'm extremely fucking bullish on stuff like this. I'm going to go more into the ETH, Sol, some other charts that I really like on the trading view on the more major side. But first, welcome for everybody who's back again. Love to see everybody. Carl, AP, Steve, Quex, Misfit Hunter, Dom. Seeing a lot of familiar faces, familiar PFPs. But if you guys are new here, maybe you're the first time slipping into the stream, welcome. First of all, I do these streams every week, Tuesdays and Fridays for now. Probably going to do more days here soon, but add more days. But Tuesdays and Fridays for now at 11 a.m. PST. Today we started a little bit later, but yeah, if you guys could like, retweet, comment, shoot me a follow, always appreciated, so we can get this out on the algo. But let me know in the comments too before we go into it. Let me know. I love to always know where you guys are at in the world. A lot of people from all over, so I love to see that. What's up, Ziggy? What's up, Juicy? What is up, Angelos? What's good, Dom? What's good, Phillips? Good to see all you guys, man. What do you think about finance? Yeah, we'll look at finance, but trenches are slowly healing. Yeah, a lot of people again are just really. I think people are going to be happy again at the trenches once Bitcoin, ETH, SOL move up a bit more, because that's really what drives all of this. What's up, Lorenz? But yeah, let's go ahead and look at. Oh yeah, if you guys have any comments, questions, chart requests, definitely shoot them in the chat, and I'll get to those as well. Love to make these streams super interactive. And then potentially towards the end of the show, if you guys have any questions and want to come up and ask, potentially offer a way for you guys to do that. So let me know if you have a question, and we can do that in a bit. But Manu, sell/hold. We'll look at Manu here in a second. I'm doing really well, Wonka. Honestly, it's just feeling blessed. Obviously, for all of us, the last 6 months, or last year really, since Bitcoin topped out in January. Lots of up and downs, right? A lot of turmoil. Definitely, just the vibe is way different during, bullish times where everybody's making money. You can just feel it in the air, and especially during times like this where everything's been pretty dry, especially in the trenches and stuff where a lot of people are trading. It's definitely a different vibe, but overall, man, I'm just blessed. Blessed to be here. I think the future is really bright for not only broader crypto industry, stable coins, all that shit, but I really think Bitcoin moving up here is going to trigger just an overall meme, just meme coin, alts, everything just having a really strong period. But Farcoin is up and Pump is up 2x. Yes, we will talk about fucking Pump. Shout out. Let me know if you guys got in Pump. I've been even on the way down there. It was a crazy few weeks. Like I said, so much turmoil where for a few weeks, Pump was, especially when the Pump team wasn't saying anything for a bit there. Everybody was really kind of getting sketched out and was saying, they're extractors. They're just taking the, however $100 million they raised and just running. But to me, it was just really obvious that anything could have happened there, right? They could have completely just ran away. but it's all about probabilities. And to me, heard interviews from Elon, right? I saw the giant war chest they have, the all the revenue that they were generating, even in like a down part of the market. And you just got to ask yourself, is it more likely that they're going to try to do something with the token and actually integrate it into whatever they're doing, support the community, do a flywheel, stuff like that, or are they just going to rug? To me, it was just way more obvious and way more likely that they were, especially what we're seeing like 2 or 3 weeks of consolidation here for pump before it took off. Um, to me, it was just a no brainer, and it's just been it's a huge win now. A lot of people are kind of popping on the train, and it's becoming a bit consensus. But with that being said, I think the conditions we're entering here in crypto, and especially the flywheel they have, where I think, however, a large percentage of the fees that they're generating are going to be sent right back into the token. So as the meme coin trenches in general and the deck pump fund heats back up, I think the coin is just going to go nuts. So I haven't taken really any profit yet. I will take a bit off of at about 5x of my entry, which my average entry is here around probably just under 3.5. Went heavy here in this purple box, but yeah, it's been a nice win here on Pump Fund. Congrats to whoever caught that. I still think there's a lot of upside here. Again, they will, like every coin, go through major corrections. Maybe, I like to wait for more corrections to enter stuff. But with that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if pumped way higher from here with not much pullback. Finally, I can type. I'm liking ASDAQ here. Yeah, KHC, we'll look at that too, bro. You always bringing up that. What do you think about a coin streamer coin? They can donate their fee to streamers. I think it's really interesting, right? I think it's I I think it's a long shot that at this point right now that a Kai Cenat or a iShow Speed or somebody who's already making millions of dollars a month or even a year are going to risk their entire career and their reputation to go straight to pump, even if they got 5 or 10 million up front, because they already have it made, right? They already have, all of that. But with that being said, I think what could happen is either one of two things. They get a mid to high level, like a low to mid level streamer that already has a good amount of following, a few of those that kind of pop off and get some use case, or not a use case, like some proof or whatever. Or two, you get somebody from complete zero that either does some crazy shit or their coin just pumps to 100 million or both, which just really attracts like a lot of people to come in, and then those kind of bigger mid to big level streamers come in. I think that's what's most likely here. I think it's really interesting, and you already saw. I'm glad you brought that up. Um, Bradley Martin, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know. Um, he a couple, like last year, he was famous for slapping that other guy Ron, who grabbed his hat, who he kind of already knew. But this right here is this guy in the white hat came up to him. He's a pump fund streamer. His name is Bagwork on Pump Fun. He was streaming on Pump Fun, went up to Bradley. Well, I'll just let you guys watch.
I think that's just funny. Fuck out of here.
So he went up to him, did the hat, got slapped in the face. But the guy, Bagwork, which we'll look at his coin here on Pump Fun, he actually made $30,000 just yesterday since that slap in creator rewards, right? So essentially, you can see his coin is going up. But for those of you guys who haven't been on Pump Fun, I don't know why this is dimmed out like this. Weird. For those of you guys who haven't been on Pump Fun, I'm just going to open a new tab. The way it works is obviously for all the streamers it creates a token for your stream. That's obviously that the streamer holds a certain percentage of, but every time someone trades your coin, you get a small. Oh, Let me share my screen again. Every time someone trades your coin, Pump Fund gives you a small percentage of the fees. All right. So that guy Bagwork made $30,000 of that volume fee that they're paying out, creator rewards, for literally just people trading throughout his coin. So you could kind of see where that might become viral, even amongst smaller. Here he is, right here. Even amongst smaller creators. And now his token, obviously, you guys can see here is up. I think he's streaming right now. But his token is at 2.2.
Oh my God, Kev, viral poll would go crazy, right?
Sorry, I'm trying to beat this. 2.2 million. What's kind of cool about this, one of the features is you can actually move the chat yourself and kind of dictate if you want it on there. Kind of stuff like that. But yeah, let me know in the chat if you guys fucked around with Pump Fund streams. Would you ever see yourself? Obviously, there's not many options for these coins right now, but could you see yourself supporting a creator? Do you think this kind of stuff is cool? Do you think it's just going to be a fad? I'm open to it. I think there's going to be a good chance that there's going to be a meta in crypto where a lot of these coins run. But as past that, is it going to be something that catches on more than outside of just like the small crypto niche? I think the potential is there again from what we just saw from this Bradley Martin thing. I think it's going to attract a lot of crazy people potentially, and hopefully Pump Fund has the moderation and everything down. But I think the potential is there for virality, and I think everything's going to be tokenized. And I think having an ability to support, kind of tip in a way, and even potentially have upside in a creator's, especially early upside in a creator, I think just makes sense. So I think it's cool. It's something I'm paying attention to. Some of the shit's entertaining, and yeah, let me know what you guys think about the Pump Fund stuff about Pump Token, but especially the Pump streams. There's a few guys I follow a long time that did very good. They're worried about the liquidity zone around 100 and 104K and warn a little bit that I can give a little bloody. Maybe we get crashed. I mean, that's fair. Liquidity is interesting, right? I definitely look at the liquidity heat map sometimes. I don't know if you mean liquidity zone, you probably obviously liquidity heat maps. While those are definitely valid, like it's definitely something to that obviously the market moves towards liquidity often, especially if it's in a range. With that being said, it's just one piece of information, and it's not just like if it was. I'll just put it this way: if it was as easy as just like a liquidity heat map, everybody would know where the market's going at all times. Think about that. Yes, they are often times where, especially in a range, smaller range, where price goes to, but it's just one piece of information. Like for example, I really heavily base my analysis chart wise on corrective. I know. Okay. Uh, I base a lot of my chart stuff on like corrective behavior, like the way that the actual price action, the impulsivity, stuff like that. Um, but let's say that came in confluence with the liquidity heat map zone. I could think, okay, it's more likely to go here more precisely. But just because there's a liquidity heat map zone right there, like that's not really how I think about it, right? I think there's so many different. Even a couple weeks ago, especially, there's so many different signs pointing to why this is Bitcoin's going to bottom out and why we're about to move up from here. I think oftentimes a lot of people just say they pigeonhole themselves as they're like a heat maps trader who only, if the heat map says this, that's what they're going with, or they're a Fibonacci guy, and if that's what happens, then that's what it's going with, or whatever it may be. I think these indicators aren't completely useless, but I think if you a lot of them are lagging, and if you make them your only source of truth, I think you're just going to get rinsed, at least eventually, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not looking at the liquidity heat map, and there's a lot of guys that I know use that to their advantage, but the guys that I do see it, they also take into a lot of other stuff into account other than just the heat maps. So, I'm not saying that's what you or your friends are doing, but I would just say that there's a million things pointing to crypto going way fucking higher from here, even in the short term, short to midterm. Uh, that I wouldn't necessarily look too much into it. I asked this question on your NFT post. What question? Flush this to the level before news. Yeah, potentially. Yo, what's good, brother? How you doing? What is up, Alabama? Brand, please, where do you think Sol is going from here? Yeah, so let's go ahead and look at ETH and Sol. I want to catch up on questions really quick. What's up, Hawk? We'll look at Detective when it comes to meme coins. Yo, what's good? Zig. Yo, we got a viewer on YouTube. By the way, that's a good time to say, as you guys can see on the top right of the screen, just this last couple of months, I have started to post and expand to Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. No long form YouTube videos yet, working on that, but TikTok and Instagram posting clips, Instagram, some IRL stuff with some other sources of information and creators and content that's helped me. So definitely check that out if you guys are on Instagram, TikTok, wherever. Shoot me a DM. Let me know that you're from the stream, and I'll definitely shoot you a follow back. Love to chop it up with everybody. Met a lot of fucking cool people. It's crazy on Instagram because you obviously see people on Twitter with the PFPs, but like Instagram, a lot of the time for people who feel comfortable with, it's like their real profile, right? So it's crazy to see people from all over the world and all walks of life, and it's just I love meeting you guys. So um, yeah, was a that slap heavy. Bitcoin just broke 116. Fuck yeah. Bitcoin reach 116,500. Wow, it's going good when we were about to see Sui cycle. Yeah, Sui too. I saw a guy rug with a farm video. It was hilarious. Oh, on Pump Fun. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of that too. Hawk says, "Yo, B, you were you were spot on about creator coins. This is gonna keep changing, getting better. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting to watch at the very least. Yeah, I think there's a little CME gap. Yeah, CME gap for sure. He rugs and plays the farm video. Okay, yeah. We are going so much higher. Everything says bullish, even if we get a pullback. Fuck yeah. Yo, what's up, Ella Tomo? How you doing, brother? Uh, Dex Mooner, you're not one of those calls you give. Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. I try. So let's go and look at Sol. Somebody asked about Sol. Absolute fucking explosion today. I think the corrective behavior on the way up here, especially out of here in June, was obvious. Every time Sol moved up, started painting an obvious like little corrective coil up, and this one is just straight impulsing out of here. For those of you guys who been on these streams for a couple weeks, even hear me talk a lot about the entire market. The way I view the market, most of it is identifying which of the three phases that the asset is in at any given time. And that's either it's correcting, impulsing, which is moving up or down in like an extended, period of time. And then peaking, which is tops or bottoming. Um, and each of these three phases have distinct characteristics where corrections are often more tight and form these kind of coil up corrections, more choppy, more tight, essentially acting as coil ups or pullbacks before the asset explodes to the upside or downside again. Two, you have impulses, which everybody, whether they know it or not, are trying to catch these impulsive moves, whether that be through holding a coin to the upside or shorting to the downside. And impulses are exactly what they sound like, very impulsive in nature, meaning a lot of big, uh, big green or red candles, one after another, for an extended period of time. And again, corrections lead to impulses. Obvious corrective behavior over the last few weeks on Sol, leading to what is an obvious big impulse. You'll oftentimes see that these corrections will take place before a major buy or a major news event or something plays out. And I mean, that's exactly what played out. Obvious corrective behavior on Sol, even though it was lagging behind ETH a bit. Right out of that correction, you have Mike Novogratz fucking buying 500 million a couple days later. So just got to let these corrective behavior in the charts, if you're looking at the right stuff, be your guide. And it's just beautiful to see play out. Now, what does Sol do from here? It's a great question. I think Sol, for me, all of these coins are going way fucking higher. I think 2025, 2026, for many reasons, is going to be a strong end of 25 into 26 is going to be very strong across the board for great crypto assets for many reasons. I think Bitcoin, again, you just got to look at every single time Bitcoin comes out of these corrections since the bottom of 2022. what have memes and great alts, the ones that survive, what have they done? At least the memes, right? Every time Bitcoin corrects, and it happened in 23, memes come down 50 to 90%. The ones that survive then go on to 5, 10, 20x, depending on how long Bitcoin's going up. Happened in 23, happened in 24, happened earlier this year again, and then it's happening again now. Same thing's going to happen here. I think the great memes, especially if Bitcoin gives us more than 3 months of upside. We only got 3 months of upside last year on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin, let's say, shocks the world, breaks the 4-year cycle, and goes to deep into, let's say, next spring, what that is going to allow, I think, is going to create a few things. I think it's going to create a lot of meme coins, the strong ones, even the ones that are even at 100 to 300 million already, are going to go 10, 20, 30x. And then potentially, I think it's going to spark a normie kind of retail cycle that we haven't seen in a long time. But just simply, without even going that far, every time Bitcoin corrects in these corrective structures, as you know, early as this year, but especially on the higher time frames from 2024, summer of 23 and 24, memes came down 50 to 90% when Bitcoin was done, started moving up. Not only did the great memes go up, conditions improved in the trenches, pump fun and DEX volumes went back up. And it's the same shit's going to happen this time. But I think this time we get a tipping point and finally get to that mania phase that might create that cycle top that everyone's expecting right now. But simply just remember how bearish everybody got at the bottom here. And just remember, when it really is the top, meaning when everything else is really going to top for a longer period of time, it will be the complete opposite as it was a few weeks ago. Everybody, there'll be big accounts trying to writing threads convincing us why we've entered like a 10-year straight up only bull market and why you shouldn't sell. Just like right now, not trying to convince you, but a lot of bigger accounts trying to say that we bought it or we topped and potentially you should de-risk and all this different stuff. It's going to be the opposite at the top. That's just how human psychology works. And I think why we've been able to nail on these streams and myself have been able to nail these moves is because I really value human like sentiment and psychology and let that be my guide along with the price action, the corrective price action, all that stuff I was talking about. So where do I think SOL goes though from here? I think SOL breaks above all-time highs. From there, who knows? Like price discovery after that, it's tough. Like Bitcoin could go to 2, 3, 400K and just go to this crazy mania, or it could slowly grind up and top out at 200 for a bigger bull market. Really just depends. I could see a world again where this is the most crazy bullish period that we've ever seen in crypto. And I know that sounds like, oh, super fucking moon boyish. But again, you got to think of crypto as in the best fundamental situation with regulatory clarity, traditional finance on our side. The people that literally run the fucking financial world and really arguably the fucking world in general, the big banks, everything are on the side of using crypto, especially stable coins, which will just lead to adoption of crypto for everything. And then you have a lot of these meme coins that are, coiled up. You have a general public that is just obsessed with speculation and gambling on sports betting. And now the government tells them that it's like legal to do it or illegal to like touch crypto and all this. I think of course, who knows? Anything could happen, but I think there's a good shot that we're entering maybe a unprecedented time. And in that way, I think you could see something like SOL surpass like a 2x from all-time high, could go higher. I think between $500 and $1,000. I mean, that's just a wide range. Would be something just would not be out of the question in the next 6 months to a year. That's just it's a big range though. There again, who knows how euphoric everything gets. ETH also looks fucking amazing. I think it breaks above 5K here, and between 5 and 10K. Definitely doable soon as well. And who knows, it might go parabolic, like I'm saying, and go to 15, 20K for all I fucking know. Ember Mania, I know. That's just your but Ember Mania, I knew that. Can we see 120K Bitcoin this weekend? Yeah, for sure. You could see a fucking 90K Bitcoin this weekend. Do I think it's likely? No. Oh, sorry, brother. I'm not even paying attention. I thought you meant like lower than we are now. 120K Bitcoin this weekend? Yeah. It's possible, of course. We're going to the weekend, usually are slow, but I think we could have a strong weekend. I think I think a lot of people too just try to focus too much on small periods of time. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'd love for Bitcoin to go to 120K, but I think it's just impossible to know. I think we're going to see some upside here continually, though, I think, into next week. Thank you. Thank you, Zia. Appreciate you, bro. Sol is exploding. Sol going to 500 this year. I think there's a good chance if we continue good conditions. Yes. Aloha, Brent. If you had to pick one, are you more bullish on AVAX or SUI? Before I answer that question, shout out to everybody. We already have 913 views. I wish Twitter would show live concurrent viewers, but 916 now people that have popped in at some point throughout this stream. Shout out to you guys. We just talking about Bitcoin SOL and how I absolutely fucking nailed the bottom here together on the stream. Been very adamant the last few weeks that to just ignore all the, bullshit, and that every sign from chart wise on even the short term, lower time frames, as well as every fundamental indicator in the fucking world, we're flashing bullish for Bitcoin for weeks now. So just talking about Bitcoin ETH price action, talking a little bit about Pump Fund, the streaming model, Pump Coin, and we're gonna get into some other good stuff, some memes, kind of the coins that I think are in this small window that we have here for crypto. I think are really, again, setting up for 5, 10, 15, like big gains here with some established coins. Again, I think a lot of people are just fading that meme coins are going to continue to dominate, and I think it's a no brainer that the movement memes, again, the select few movement memes, are set up to just do numbers here. World's Classic Project. Can you send me a thing for that? We'll look at that. And if you guys, I do remember a lot of the memes you guys brought up earlier. I'm just not looking at the meme coins yet, but I will look at those when it's time here in a little bit. Doge Nari. I'm seeing a lot of people spamming Doge Nari. Shout out to you guys. We'll look at that. No, you don't hold XRP, but what do you think about that? What about Jupe Coin? I think Jupiter, again, attached to I know it hasn't gotten much movement, recently, but I think into a period where traditional finance people like revenue, I wouldn't be surprised if it ran. Do you think check volume? I don't really check volume much. Again, I'm more of a buy and hold, like accumulating during corrections, holding for weeks or for months sometimes to catch those 5, 10, 20x gains on the way up. So I'm not really too concerned with volume, but obviously if you are more of a trench trader, like a lower time frame stuff, that's more important to you. Um, how do we position accordingly? We're reforked still. Buy coins, for me, I think the movement memes, which we'll go over in a second, are the best bang for your buck right now. But I think there's coins across all different niches that I think are still in good positions. In AI, in gaming, even might take a little bit of more time. In DeFi and a lot of other areas too. Dogenari, Brent Say, and Roaster. Yeah, we'll look at Say. I sold ETH today and sold more. Is that a bad decision? No, I think it's always good to have for me, I like to have a bag of both, right? Because they move at different times. I think they're both going way higher. And there's just no point to pit these things against each other. Even if ETH has out or underperformed over the last few years, it's like these things are going to move at different times, and I just like to have a bag of both. I don't think it's a bad decision. Whatever you like, whatever you prefer. I think both of them are going way higher. Brent, please, I also want you to talk about tokens like XRP and Pengu. Seeing how potentially good they are doing is really impressive. Do you think XRP? Yeah, I think XRP, good shot at getting to 10. As institutional and like institutional narrative, as well as like just a all-time fucking cult, obviously. Yeah, no worries, Parminder. Oh yeah, Adita. Doge Nari is really moving different. Is that right? Is that the one that's the Doge 1 thing? We'll look at that. Are we heading into the massive bull run? I think we've been in a bull run since 2022, but there's a good chance, a good case to be made that we're entering what will probably be the strongest period that we have seen yet. Again, the fundamentals plus the charts plus a bunch of other things are aligning to where, again, potentially there. As you can see in my tweets, I have very strong conviction. A lot of times I'll speak in what seems like absolutes, but at the end of the day, I'm very open to the fact that what I'm saying might not play out, right? I think everything is pointing to a very bullish period in crypto, but I can only go off of what I information based off, and I'm open to the possibility that something happens tomorrow, especially with what happened, what's happening recently, that something could just go crazy and just like nuke everything. But again, probabilities wise, I think are just very, very, very strongly pointing in every metric. I think that's important. Is not only pointing to upside, but every top indicator, like the real important top indicators of the past. I'm talking about the Coinbase being on top of the Apple Store, from the Fear and Greed Index, from sentiment on crypto Twitter being just insanely irrationally bullish during the top most of the time. None of those things are flashing red, while all the bullish things that you should be looking for are flashing in like green. So, I mean, of course, anything could play out, but I think everything is pointing to, yes, a massive bull run. And I think the fact that other people are really, that's not the main consensus, and that everybody's kind of like really apprehensive, rightfully so, is the what's going to give everything such a room to run. Because if everybody was already on the side of the trade, everybody was already in and just like uberly bullish, there's nobody else to FOMO in to the other side, right? But if everybody's on the other side of the trade, we start moving up. There's just endless capital of people who are just like, fuck, I don't want to be sidelined. And then that's what happens. Most people exit near the bottom of the smart money or whatever you want to call it. Long-term holders accumulate, moves back up, and then most of the time those people FOMO in the middle of the move or near the top. And that's just kind of how markets work. And the ones that are continuously able to profit, I feel like the few percent of the people who are able to break away from that like cycle of do I have mentorship or VIP? Lots of impersonators on TG. No, no mentorship or VIP. Yeah, a lot of impersonators on Telegram. My only Telegram account is Brent Trades with two S's. I'm sorry, Brent Trades with one S on Telegram. Myself nor Bossman, who's my business partner in the Telegram, obviously. Neither of us will ever DM you asking for any type of money or mentorship or any of that shit. Nor do either of us have any paid type of membership. Everything that we put out right now is completely free in the Telegram. So yeah, definitely if you ever see myself, Bossman, or any of these bigger creators that haven't specified, so even if they have paid courses, they're not going to be DMing you asking to join. So always be careful of that. Never click links either, especially on a device that you use to do trading. Stuff like that. You got to be careful. Too many people getting drained, and as AI becomes big, and like it's going to be so easy to like click a link or just do something stupid. It's some of these things are so convincing. BNB are ripping. Doge too. Fuck yeah, everything's ripping. We'll talk about Doge right now. Doge ETF as well got approved this week, which again I think could be a huge catalyst. I think Doge, really good chance to think, really good shot that Doge might do one of those 5 to 10x's I was talking about, even though it's in the top 10. Especially Elon, if he shoots off a couple of Doge tweets with these conditions, might get crazy. Yeah, we'll look at Doge Nari in a second, guys. Aztec. Yeah, let's look at Aztec for you, bro. Fuck. We need to get it. I need to get it so it shows your guys' names on here, not your ads. Because all you guys have just different fucking ads. Remind me what's your name, bro. Like I met a lot of the USDUC guys recently. A lot of cool guys. Fucking but Aztec, yeah, let's look at that for you, bro. Let's see. Pump up. Let me know in the chat though. What have you guys been fucking trading mainly? Are you more of a, like myself, buy and hold? Like, and you play a little bit in the trenches? Are you mostly a trench trader? You mostly do perps? I want to know what the audience is doing. Aztec. I'm not really tapped into the community. Obviously, obviously a funny play on, the Nasdaq, similar to S&P. Maybe kind of got inspiration by SPX 6900. Maybe not. I don't really know. Chart wise, I can tell you that if a community is good. Everything else checked out. You think it's a long-term movement. I think this has movement. Um, it's movement-esque, like it has movement um, aspects of a movement coin, right? Obviously, it's a derivative. I don't know if it's a derivative. You guys are probably don't think it's a derivative or would say it's not, and it probably has a lot of unique characteristics. It has movement type, just the name alone, I could see, garnering a lot of attention. But this, the chart does look like what I was going to get at a second ago. If everything else checks out, you think there's a good team, movement, distribution, and everything checks out. This does look like a pretty healthy correction with clear lows in this kind of corrective coil up type structure with an inverse head and shoulders, which I didn't really talk about today. Bitcoin was actually showing signs of an inverse head and shoulders here too, with this being the shoulder, this being the head. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Uh, Bitcoin here, inverse head and shoulders, with this being the shoulder here with the box marked out, the head here, kind of making that low, um, making that low here, the head trapping traders, and then making another shoulder. I remember here came down, came back here, but when I saw this holding, I was like, okay, I think Bitcoin is very likely bottomed out here and is going to move up. And it played out inverse head and shoulders. Again, what these are a lot of the time these are what bottoms on the higher time frames and lower time frames. The peaks, like I like to talk about, one of those three major phases oftentimes they manifest in this inverse head and shoulders like structure where you get a shoulder consolidation, a quick head where it just gets down, traps people, comes back up, and then consolidates, not letting people get back out of these trades, and then skyrockets up. That's what you're going to see a lot of the time the bottoms form as. And Aztec, potentially, of course, if everything else goes right, is forming one of those inverse head and shoulders right now here with a consolidation here being the shoulder, quick spike down to trap people up, and now it's kind of consolidating without taking out this prior low. Very good potential, decent potential again that it is kind of bottoming out. So it'll be interesting to see what is that. Barely a 2x off all time highs too, so held pretty strong. Great stream, bro. I appreciate that, man. I think BNB's growth is different. I feel like it's going to keep growing. Yeah, I think BNB is attached to a strong company, obviously, and Binance probably continues to grow. Hi, give the best altcoin. Where do I fetch genuine sentiment data for crypto? So that's a great question. Most of the time for me, and again, it's going to be super anecdotal. Like crypto Twitter, in some sense, is like kind of choose your own adventure in the way that it's not choose your own adventure, but everybody has a different feed, right? A lot of times it's going to be based on what you're looking for. It's interest media at the end of the day with these algorithms. Like a lot of times it's going to show you more of what you stop on and watch. But at the end of the day, like I like to base it off of a few things. A lot of it is anecdotal. A lot of it is my take on what I think sentiment is. A lot of other stuff is bigger accounts. Not always big accounts because there's some accounts that are just spot on with it. But you almost notice a shift of what most people around crypto Twitter, like what their consensus is. Like a lot of times it'll be obvious, like where people just shift from euphoric good vibes on the timeline to all of a sudden a crypto price move 10-20% happens, a couple weeks of downside, the vibe just shifts, right? You see people who a couple weeks were super bullish are now saying, okay, it might be over. They start coming up with all these reasons why it's going to go down. It's a lot of it is a personal thing for me, and just from my 9 years in crypto of just like noticing things and like noticing certain patterns and things. But again, a lot of it is you can just notice a vibe shift amongst the timeline. A lot of these big accounts were heavily like the consensus, like you can almost feel like you're not laughed at, but like uncomfortable when you tell somebody like you're bullish, for example, in April. That was not consensus, right? Most people are like, well, why would we be bullish? The tariff situation and this and that and the other. Um, So at that point, when you feel like a really heavy lean to one side, like I said earlier on the stream, like earlier at the beginning of the stream, when we are actually near the top, it's going to be the complete opposite as we are now. At least that's usually how it goes, right? People are going to be like crazy bullish. Like people are just going to be like, there's no way we're going to go down. You know, this company bought Bitcoin this week and this guy launched an NFT collection, whatever the fuck. Um, so yeah, just stuff like that. You got rugged up. I was at 50% and went to grab water. Yeah, that's tough, man. So yeah, let's go into meme coins or what coins that I'm really, really like right now into this next period. I think, let me get some water here. Thanks, Dex Mooner. Great questions. So I think right now we have a window of opportunity for days. It might be hour. It might be closing this weekend for all I know. It might be another week where you have an opportunity to buy a lot of great coins that are still at 50 to 90% discounts before these coins do what they did in the summer of 23 and the summer of 24 and even some of them in April this year with SPX and Pengu going up. Again, it just simply put, you can't mid curve it here every time. And go test this out. I'll go show you right now with some of these coins I have up right now. Like, let's go look at MOG, for example. Okay. I don't know why they don't have the ETH layer one. Okay, it is at the top. Good shit. MOG, for example, Bitcoin. MOG has been. Oh fuck yeah, it's moving up nicely out of here. Beautiful, beautiful. So MOG, been around since 2023. So let's go ahead and look every time what has happened to Bitcoin. Let's see, for the first time since MOG's existence. Okay, every time Bitcoin's come out of these corrections, for example, in October of 2023, Bitcoin has been correcting at this point for 6 months, moves out of its correction here for, a period of 6 months. What does MOG do in that period? Let's go ahead and look. Right here, what is MOG? It goes on to, sorry, MOG goes on from that period, like I said, end of 23 into the middle of 24, goes on to go from 36 up until 12. So it's a 40x during that time, 6 months. Okay. Oh, but you probably think that's a fluke, right? It's just a one-off, right? But let's go and look what Bitcoin did in March of 2024. Came down, corrected, 6 months. And sorry, yeah, I keep forgetting to share my screen. But let's see what Bitcoin did in March 2024. Came down from March to September. What did MOG do? Obviously corrected hard with the rest of the market. But then what did it do when Bitcoin is done bottoming out in September of 24? Went on for another 8x run in just a 3-month period. Okay. So when this period where I'm talking about, oh, I'm fucking super bullish, like these meme coins are going to go out and do 5, 10, 15x's. Like I'm not just a fucking moon boy, like talking out of my ass. Like this is what happens every single time Bitcoin moves out of this. So if anything, like this is what's most likely to happen. This is what the data suggests. But again, you got to keep open with this idea. Keep open this idea that again, if we get 6 months like we did of upside in Bitcoin, like we did in 24, what if we get 7 or 8 months? And this time we get a normie retail mania. What do you think happens to something like MOG? I don't think it does a 5, 10x. I think it does 20, 30. I think what is going to happen with a lot of these coins is you're going to see stuff like MOG, Giga, SPX, obviously already above a billion, surpass 5 and very likely 10 billion market cap. Just like we saw Pepe barely hit last time. That's going to be the new paradigm. That's why I have this title in here. I think we're going to enter a new paradigm here with the movement memes, which most of crypto Twitter is just completely like, oh, I always hear risk to reward is just stupid. Why? That once Bitcoin comes out of these corrections, go on to 5, 10, 15x. And these are coins which, again, not everybody has 5, 10, 20K to throw into a coin. But for those that do, these are the coins that you can actually throw into and get a 10x on a 20K bag. You can't do that with these 50K, 100K market cap coins, right? You might be able to throw a couple SOL at it, which is great. You're getting a 20, 30x on a couple $100, but it's just a different game. It's just different ballpark or ball game. And I think I think what's really going to shock people to the ups, what is max pain is these movement memes, which everybody had months to buy. The ones that everybody's been talking about that kind of memes on the SPX Gigas Mogs go on to like 10 billion plus market caps and just go and do 10, 15, 20 X's. I think that's very likely. And again, there's historical and data that backs this premise. So yeah, and it's not even just with Mog. Real quickly, we'll just go and look at Giga really quick to it. Every time Bitcoin does these corrections, the meme coins follow the lead. They correct hard. Bitcoin comes out of these corrections for more than a few weeks. I don't know why this is lagging so hard. The movement memes go crazy. Like I saw, end of 20, or let's see, beginning of 24 into 25, end of the 24 again. Giga did the same thing, 8x in that same period. Was kind of already leading the way in the 23 correction, but yeah, the SPX same kind of thing. So me right now, I do have some exposure to a couple different things, like a lot of bigger alts in the DeFi and gaming stuff that I'm expect to maybe be slower to bubble up, but I still think in the entire crypto market, I think the best bang for your buck is in these established movement memes. Again, there's a difference between movement memes where there's a movement behind it, the XPX Gigas, Mogs, where it's really community driven, and then like viral or singular memes that are based around a viral moment. That kind of stuff you can definitely make money on, catch them upside, but it's just a different game than, or just a different kind of coin than these movement memes that are battle tested through corrections, have these bigger movements, great content creation. I think those ones right now are a couple 100 million, a lot of them, but have the best shot to go to 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 billion if stuff gets crazy. Which, I mean, Giga, for example, I've just been buying the fuck out of Giga because not only does this corrective chart structure look pretty decent with, just like we got with Bitcoin, a bigger correction with a smaller correction in it, kind of popping out of it now. I think Giga easily goes to a billion, and it's one of those that has a good shot at going to 5, 10, 15 billion. You had even people like Ansem, who was super bullish on Giga last year at this time, saying, this is not even just Murad. There's people who are, very bullish on Giga going to, let's see if I can find it. He had it going to 50 billion. And how much of this was like he's actually serious? I think he's obviously very bullish on these coins, but you had people saying going to 50 billion. Let's say it goes to 10, like I was saying, 20% of that. That's 100x from here. Even if it goes to 5, I think there's very conservatively, I know that sounds nuts, but in meme coins with how many people are just underlooking this, I think Giga does a conservative 10x from here. We can look at this video back in 6 months from now. I think Giga does a conservative 5 to 10x, probably way fucking higher from here too. So, Spark, yeah, we'll look at Spark. But yeah, I think the Giga's SPX, even though it's above a billion, Giga SPX Mog, ticker Bitcoin. I think ticker Bitcoin's probably number 2 as far as like overall chart setups from these older ones. And again, these coins are just the overall traditional, like kind of mainstream crypto community. Like a lot of these coins just aren't being talked about, and that's why they have these crazy discounts. But again, I think a lot of people are just tired of getting rinsed, and these are the coins people are going to buy. So ticker Bitcoin has failed to break fucking, what is this, 240 million a bunch of times, but I think it finally does this time on this next run, and is nice and coiled up on the lower time frames. Another one that I think is a conservative 5 to 10x. I think this has a really good shot at going to a billion with how much staying power, how much time in the game, how much mind share that Sproto Gremlins and like the Bitcoin community has relative to its price. I'm extremely bullish on ticker Bitcoin here as well. Stuff like this, I think, is going to do incredibly well. These are the older coins from 23, but let's just go over them really quick again. The SPX Mogs, Gigas, ticker Bitcoins, lock in. You got stuff like Joe, I think, has a really good chance at doing well. Like some of these older 2023, 24 coins, I'm missing some, but Fartcoin, again, probably stuff like that. And then you have like, there's a newer sect of meme coins that have actually stepped in. I thought for a while I was just going to focus on mainly, again, other than like some smaller trades and more short term stuff, like my bigger holds were going to continue to be coins that were created in 23 and 24. But there's been some great memes that have popped up this year that have really shown strong movement potential, and just not even potential, but just like movement strength early on. And I think the most obvious version of that is the USDUC. I'm just a fucking huge fan of everything about USDUC. It's just right place, right time, right community, right people behind. I think for the most part, obviously, for the most part, I think USDUC has some great people and positive kind of people behind it, as well as a lot of, a few friends of mine working on it behind the scenes with exchanges and all that important stuff. When there is like a hype mania, stuff like that, all that, I think everything checks out for USDUC. In the Telegram channel, I posted at 7 million. It's had a bunch of corrections throughout, but currently, up about 8x. Haven't really taken any profits yet on USDUC. Probably will here at 10x here on my bag, which would be at about, 8 or 80 or 90 million. But again, I think it has a billion plus potential, and could, if things get crazy, could go to those multiple billions. So USDUC, probably my top new meme of the year that I have the most conviction in. But then you got the salaries as well. Definitely a smaller one, but some very, very great potential for those guys. A lot of movement, just die hard rating. I think just a lot of signs of strength. This is one coming back down, still in it, kind of in its corrective coil up. But I think this is one that sees its probably bottom soon, and has a lower market cap, so it probably runs really hard. I would think. Has 100 million potential, but it's kind of tough to say it about a $7 million coin that, I think it's going to a billion. But if you would have told me, you tell me 6 months ago that this coin's at hundreds of millions of dollars, I wouldn't be surprised. It just has a lot of early signs of a good community. I think for me, I've just realized more and more as time goes on that if you're like betting and buying and holding a lot of these coins, you're betting on the people in the community. It's never about it's about the meme in the short term. When something comes out, it's all about the meme. It's all about the virality. But if you're talking about buying and holding coins for more than a few weeks, it's always about the fucking people behind it. You've got to bet on the community and the people running it, the core community, the team, whatever. Those are the ones that are driving it, the movement behind it. Because if there's no core movement or any of that, then most of the time it's just here today and fucking gone tomorrow. And what was I going to say? What's it called? I think the perfect example of that, I don't know if you guys saw Popcat, the owner of the IP. I say the owner of the IP, the owner of the cat. And I think she probably posted the original picture before it obviously took on a life of its own, is coming back with a vengeance this week, saying that she's taking back control of the is taking back control of the IP, and she's coming after all of the evil meme coin traders that took advantage of her cat's name. I think again we're seeing a lot of these early signs of, I don't know if it's somebody gets to these creators, maybe the dev of these new coins, or they just feel empowered and somebody's in their ear saying, "Oh, you should make your own coin." But we saw the same thing with the peanut guy who ended up being like a shyster making 6, 7 different coins. But I mean, if this is true, again, I haven't looked into it myself. It says that this one looks very bundled. So, my whole point of what I'm saying is it's never about the actual fucking meme or the cat itself. long term. It's about the community and the movement that's formed around that fucking cat. That's why I'm saying like SPX, Giga, Mog, where there's like a movement and people feel like they belong to something. That's way easier to form a community around rather than just like a picture of some fucking cat. And that's why I think it's amazing that PopCat even has gone to the heights that it has. But it's only because the community and the early team of, another one of my friends who took PopCat from a CTO of pretty much zero to where it was. Like it's so much easier to form a movement around whatever. So yeah, it's interesting to see with this oatmeal shit. I assume the coin is wrecked. And by the way, if any of you guys, if this is any of your favorite coins or just in general, feel free to clip any of these clips, any of these things that you found useful. If you're trying to build a clipping account, whatever the fuck, I will comment, retweet, all that good stuff of your clips. So yeah, it looks like this one got fucking rugged. Crazy candle to start out. I don't know. I don't want to say it's 40. Is this it? Or is this just like a scam version? Is it already below 46K market cap? No, this looks like this looks like the 1 million volume. Or is there another one? Don't tell me it only did 1 million in volume. That's sad. You got creator coins doing more than fucking volume than that a day. But yeah, top of the hour. We're just talking a little bit about the meme coins that I think are going to be your best bang for your buck. I think the Gigas, SPX, Mogs, ticker Bitcoins are completely slept on by most of crypto Twitter. They just assume these things are dead. But these are the coins that are not only going to go 5 to 10x, but have the potential to go much, much higher. And actually, if and when we do get a normie type of cycle that I think is inevitable, like an entrance from them, those are the ones that, for the most part, there will be some normies that trade on pump fund, but for the most part, just like 2021, just like 2017, what for the most part these normies are gonna flock to, at least at first, are stuff that inspires them. They feel like they're part of a movement. Okay, that thing's cool, and the ones that tend to be accessible on Coinbase, on the Robinhoods, on all that good stuff. A lot of these coins, Giga, SPX, Mogs, all that are those coins. So it just depends what are your goals here? Like I've learned, I think there's just a sacrifice for everything in crypto. And I'm like sound like a fucking philosopher right now, but like there's like every like a sacrifice for everything in crypto, right? Like you're a buy and hold type person who buys and holds and you're more of a longer term, whatever, take profits on the way up, or you're a, meme like a trencher who trades the lower cap stuff. The sacrifice for trading the lower cap stuff is you could get your entire $2,000 investment or whatever you have in that coin completely obliterated at any given time. There's just a lot of risk to your entire investment going completely down fast. Obviously, the upside is you can make a lot fast. And then the sacrifice for buying and holding through these different times, like what we're doing here, what I think is a smart path is you have to have patience. There's the uncertainty that potentially stuff doesn't play out like it did last time. But yeah, I think just for the average person, the sacrifice of the patience and the uncertainty and the uncomfortability, from what I've seen, just pays off way more, at least for me, than the sacrifice of potentially just getting your shit blown out on pump fund. But again, there's different people, different fucking goals, different skill sets, all that different stuff. But just holding a bit of Sol, Pump, Pengu, Mog, a little bit of Giga and Lofi, a little bit of USDUC and Farcoin, and Jim, no fast food, only clean food and learning new skills. I love that, bro. I love how you added that at the end there. Definitely got to take care of yourself right now. Get ahead in your health right now, I feel like, because it's very easy to slip into bad habits. Just stare at the screen all day, all that good shit. So get as much fucking sleep and all that good shit as possible. That's the power of a bull run, man. Yeah. Doge Nari. Yeah, okay. I'll check out Joe's Nari. Is this the Doge Nari you're talking about? It can't be. Can't be. You guys aren't fucking sending me a coin that's 27K market cap, are you? Oh, this looks like more. Yeah, okay. No, this looks okay. This is it. Who the fuck is calling me right now? Hold on. All right. Dogenari. I have no idea what the fuck this coin is, to be completely real with you. I've never heard of it before you guys came on and suggested it. Only thing I will say is it had a strong run. Pretty interesting candles right out the gate. You know, a little bit suspect, I would say. But with that being said, I don't know anything about this. I can't give you like a definitive answer either way of like what I like about it without knowing the other things or the supply distribution and all that. But just strictly chart wise, if I liked everything about a coin, this is what I essentially come to every time I don't know the other fundamental shit about a coin. Chart wise, if everything else checked out, the team is solid, seems like there's a movement potential behind it. This does look like a decent corrective chart structure with very tight price action on the way down, and it's already popping out semi impulsively. Again, only second 4 hour candle out of the channel, but pretty impulsively out of this correction. Um, so, of course, if we were to close back above, maybe 2x higher from here, very good shot. Of course, that's going to keep going. So, chart looks very good, I would say, on the higher time frames, but I don't know if everything else checks out. I hope that helps. Can you do peanut? Yeah, sure. I haven't looked at peanut in a minute. Peanut the squirrel. 261 million is nutty that it's held 260. With that being said, Peanut is on Binance and Coinbase. Everybody, kind of shit talks Coinbase, but again, if we do get a normie meta with Peanut being maybe one of the 10 or 15 memes that's on there, that's powerful. Kind of choppy corrective behavior with this, like in this, again, channel like structure into this low, forming without even taking it out, forming what's like a double bottom of sorts, higher low double bottom, impulsively out of this candle. If and when it closes above 3.3 here, very, very likely it just takes it back to all-time highs, or at least take it back. I will say take it back to this high, and if it's able to clear that, it could go on a nice run here. Again, Peanut's not, it's a singular meme around a certain time in history, which normally I wouldn't touch, or I kind of hold in a lower tier, especially at 262 million. But anybody who's been around for a few years knows that the most retarded, like the most stupid retarded shit sometimes runs that you're just like, why the hell is this shit running right now? And it's simply you could left curve it. It's Peanut is on Coinbase. Lots of people on Coinbase equals people recognize Peanut. They think, oh, this is in a lot of people's heads, believe it or not, for better or worse, Peanut is the perfect idea of a meme coin in their heads, right? To me, again, movement coins are very superior in my eyes, but you got to think of how these normies and people that are coming into crypto are going to think. And I think Peanut, for better or worse, whether you're in this or not, I think a good shot at going to potentially, billion plus. Ansem was bull posting. Anyone? Yeah, and again, when I say like these big accounts, again, like I'm not, you know, not shitting on anyone. I like to joke around, and I put out that tweet earlier this month, um, saying what's it called? My gut says that we bottomed here. Like, obviously, I'm just trying to, fuck around. But look at that. Look at that right at the fucking bottom there, 15. Shout out to everybody who didn't sell out. But yeah, no, I like to fuck around with everybody. Everybody's open to their own opinion. I love to hear different perspectives. There's a lot of people who are great at one thing, and maybe one thing's not their strength, like the majors or whatever the fuck it is. It's just like you got to understand. You can just learn. You can learn stuff from everybody, especially people who have good intentions and aren't, intentionally rugging people and shit. Anyone selling because others are selling is doing it wrong. Yeah, you got to think proactively. You got to think of what's next, not what's happening currently. Check Fred. Yeah, Fred, same kind of thing, bro. Like if Peanut and Mudang move up, I think Fred has a good shot. USDUC is bullish. Yup. Shout out to the USDUC guys. Always appreciate you guys for real. I see many people are promoting Troll. I don't like that coin. Interesting. Let me know why you don't like it. I've for the first time added to Troll this week as because it's just been up only. I didn't buy it before it went up. So added a bit on this correction. I think Troll actually got its IP. Yeah, no, I'm not. Troll bought its IP back, which for meme coins, like I was talking about with Popcat, isn't necessary. I think people can form these meme coins around IPs that they don't own, and there's not much the IP owner can do about it. It's about the community and the memetic or the community behind the original coin. But with that being said, if there is a strong meme coin, them having the IP allows them to create other media around it and profit in a way that they could create a game or create all these different things that drive attention and utility to the coin. So if done the right way and not extractive and whatever, it allows the team to have full control of that troll thing to do a bunch of other cool stuff with it. Obviously, it could go the wrong way where they just do a bunch of extractive stuff and a lot of stuff that is gimmicky and stuff. But if done by a good team, having the IP of the meme could be a good thing for sure. So I think it's going to be a pretty common occurrence of this happening, of the meme coins buying the IPs up. It's always about the people and community. Learn from Brent. Thanks. Yeah, of course, bro. If you're CTO, the coin, the meta, you'll go for it. Yeah. Tokabu, very popular coin. Another one that I did not catch, but shout out to everybody who profited on Tokabu or has done well on Tokabu. Seems to be a pretty strong community around this one. Okay. This looks nice for a few reasons, I'll tell you. The very choppy corrective type structure. And again, you'll hear me say correction all the time. You probably think I'm just saying, oh, like he just says that every fucking time. The reason why is because the entire market is in a correction right now, right? So of course, everything is going to be in this corrective like structure. Like I said, corrections, most people aren't looking for these things, but corrections have distinct characteristics. So when the overall market is in a corrective structure or in a corrective period, most of the stuff is going to look very similar. And that's a good thing. That's what we want to be catching. That's why we're able to have it's repeatable. A lot of these things is because we catch a lot of these same corrective type signs before they take off. Because remember, corrections lead to impulses, which is what we're trying to catch. Anyway, nice corrective choppy like structure, which tells me we're coiling up here. And then what I'm really bullish on top of that is the 2 or 3 weeks of consolidation. Again, corrective behavior with consolidation of multiple days or months at the bottom is always bullish, or is usually what you see. So we just want to see it clear a little bit higher. But yeah, this is a good sign that I think it probably rips higher from here. Nah, I quit gambling and new memes. That's fair. Yeah, what's good, Rojam? How you doing, man? It's an ETH token, bruv. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, we already looked at Peanut, brother. Oh, Hider. What's up, man? You're coming from YouTube? Yeah, I don't know if you saw it before, man. I don't know if it was longer than 8 minutes ago. You might have already asked that before I went over it. But simply, Peanut, even though it's not one of my favorite coins because it's a singular meme, I think it has a shot at moving up because it's on Coinbase. I think normies are going to come into the market for the first time in years. And in that world, with this kind of nice corrective bottom like structure, correction into a very strong low, I could see it shifting back. I don't know back to all-time highs, but shifting up hard from here. So I hope that answers your question, Hyder. I don't know if you're originally from YouTube, if that's where you found us, but if you did, shout out to you, man. I don't know if you're on crypto Twitter, but if you are, definitely DM me on there. I think Twitter, if you're not already on there, definitely should get on there. It's a good source of information. A lot of cool people on there too. Your opinion on Brett? See, Brett is like, to me, it's like a coin that could go either way. I think normally most of these coins that have any type of community or team left usually run. It's just, I think it's just what are you going to get the most bang for your buck right now with good risk to reward? And I think there's just a lot of stuff that I view in higher regards, more of a movement type coin. But with that being said, Brett, I could see running. Tips on growing a very small port is the same way I would tell you to grow a bigger port is again by being in accumulating, even if you have $1,000, $500, splitting that up amongst 5 to 10 coins of these coins that are at 50 to 90% discount, wait till they're 5, 10x up, take profits partially on the way up, and just doing that. Even though, again, higher market cap coins takes more patience, but it gives you a lot more chance to compound your portfolio into the thousands and eventually potentially millions or whatever than just sending it all on new pump fund coins. Trade less, troll more. How about trade and fucking troll? I've seen you trolling in the comments, Alan. I appreciate it. I see you. The fucking troll mutant ape combo is fucking crazy, by the way. What do you think of Hype and Link? Oh, you already asked that. I like Hype and Link very much. Both are very strong infrastructure plays, especially Link. Yeah, what's up, Ray? How you doing, man? Thanks for being here. Yeah, I'll put the link in the YouTube. Can't stop me now because I don't want to comment on my own post. If you could drop the link to the YouTube channel in the comments for the homies, that'd be great. But yeah, it's youtube.com/Brent Trades with one S, I believe. Yeah, with one S. Somebody says whiff and troll devs are same and they know for slow rep. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the whiff and troll devs are the same. Couldn't tell you. Yeah, I should probably put the YouTube channel in the profile, but can you, or like a link tree or something? Can you suggest NFTs something loadable? Yeah, we'll look at NFTs right now too. Are you long on Say? I'm not long on it personally. I think I like AVAX. Somebody asked earlier, AVAX or Sui. I like both. Probably biggest run probably will come from AVAX because it just hasn't moved in years. But yeah, I think Say will do well too. I'm not long on it though personally. But let's go ahead and check the timeline a little bit, see what's going on, if anything. Let me know if there's anything like that went on this week or anything that I should be reviewing or anything you want me to look at. Again, as long as it's not fucking sus. Shoot it over in the in the comments and I'll look. Thank you for that. Can't stop me now. Yeah, this is the YouTube channel right here, youtube.com/Brent Trades. I post in the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel, by the way. If you guys are not in there, definitely check it out. I know a lot of you guys already are. That's why I post right now a lot of for the last few years, post a lot of the long form content, trade ideas, days or weeks, ahead of time on Pengu, SPX, USDUC that have, even during this downtime in the market, have gone 5 to 10x. Post long form tips and tricks and stuff I've learned over my 10 years in trading. We do live streams sometimes, giveaways. Obviously, Bossman, who him and I have been working together here since almost 2 years now. Him and I took the channel that he originally started a few months prior to that from 300 members, less maybe 200 and something members when we joined, up together in, like I said, this time almost like November of 2023 to meme coins kind of right around that time started popping off. And we took the channel from, a couple hundred members to 40,000 members in there. Again, amazing. Couldn't imagine years ago that I'd have the opportunity, the privilege to post into 40,000 people all around the world and all different continents. The people I've met from just being in that channel, amazing. So if you guys aren't in there already, super cool. Not only just the calls and all whatever else, but like great community. I think the best community on Telegram, I think. So definitely check that out if you're not already in there. It's always great, exciting time in there when Bitcoin ETH moving up. A lot of plays, a lot of good stuff to share. So yeah, pretty much everything, kind of a trading journal for both of us. And so definitely check that out if you haven't already. But fuck, what was I going to relay that to? My bad. I didn't unshare my screen. Let's see. Oh, I had a couple things here. Let's see. Um, exit out of a few of them. Is this one? Oh, yeah. This week too, Bitminer about $200 million in ETH. I think we're going to get a double kind of whammy effect where these institutions are buying these DATs, but then I think we're going to get normies that come in, and I think it's going to get crazy. Personally, let me know, were any of you guys here in 21, 17? Is this your full like first bull market? I kind of want to see something. Yo, shout out Oversight Clips with the clip already. Fire fucking caption. Oh, but also, before I forget, doing a giveaway, a pump giveaway, $500 pump giveaway. You guys saw do these a couple times a week. Last week, luckily, two of them were people that were in the Telegram channel. Not intentionally, I do pick it randomly, completely random. I did three different things last week: two $500 Pengu winners and an NFT winner, Series 2 V Friends winner. One of them I picked personally. The other two were picked completely random from the comments of this. So shout out to everybody in here. I will have about 48 hours on the giveaway. Granted, if we don't get to, we're about to get to 1,000 entries here. So I probably will extend it to one more winner, but shout out to that if you're looking maybe to win $500 in pump before it takes off to 10 Billy. Definitely check that post out. What else on my personal timeline? Like I said, Bossman Calls Telegram channel. It's been a great fucking 3, 5, 6 months for people who have been in the no brainer SPX, Pengu with us, USDC, very early on, even before this big correction, talking about Pengu and we've been saying, even very early on before it became consensus. So shout out to everybody who's been eating with us on even during a pretty shitty time. But with that being said, for everybody who paid attention and kind of learned what to look for, what not to look for, the market's about to enter the easy mode for those people who know what they're doing, and the people that know what they're doing are the people who stuck around and kind of trained, quote unquote, trained during shitty periods, right? It's like how athletes train in harder conditions than like the game or whatever the fuck. It's like similar shit to that, same kind of effect. And I think people who have sharpened their skills and shit over the last few months are gonna do very well when there's just opportunities out there everywhere. But yeah, your stream fire as always. Thanks, bro. Thought Storm. Fucking Thought Storm. That's a crazy name. Okay, Thread Guy doing a fucking.
Yeah, how are we doing?
Cards is low key mid.
Well, I mean, he'll come back and share his sentiment. I think it's right to be a bit cautious and trepidatious.
We'll look at cards too
around something like it.
Yeah, I'm a little apprehensive to the cards thing. I think it could go higher.
Of all of the aforementioned, basically.
I just think
pump
it's
hype,
right, and it has a huge market already. Like it's
Right.
it's
I could see a world where the Pokemon and crypto convergence continues to do well, and it sparks like a new wave where like a bunch of stuff goes on chain through RWA, and collectibles are kind of the first thing. But just where it's currently at 150 million, I think for me, I don't have any cards. I've been buying coins that I think are more obvious buys in the movement type of thing. But I see the bull case where Pokemon cards in good crypto conditions, Pokemon keeps going up. There's a narrative that keeps going. But I could also see a world too where it's one of the ones that dies out pretty quickly. When again, its only thing that stays around is if there's a real community built around it that people stick around because of the greater movement and idea, even if price is down 80 or 90%. The AI meme coins, the ones that everybody was hot on and talked about, it's the future of AI. The reason why 99% of them are dead right now is because they had no community or people that gave a fuck about it other than when price was going up. Giga, SPX, MOG, ticker Bitcoin. I sound like a broken record, but these are the ones that, even though price has been 80 or 90% down for 6 or 7 months, you still see people on the timeline stoked about it with the PFP, rating, posting charts. Do you see anybody posting charts of, well, Zero Bro is a bad example, but you see anybody posting charts about Goat? I think might have a chance because of the story, but Goat or, dude, I don't even remember a lot of these. No, it's because there's no community or people or movement behind it. I think Pokemon and these cards one, I'd be wary on the downside if there's no real movement behind it. But I could see a case in the short term where cards continues to do well. Um, why the cough? Um, Brand, absolute legend, changed my trading a lot since I follow you. Yeah, I'm not looking at the cards chart if that's what you're referring to. Brand, absolute legend, changed my trading since a lot since I follow you. Much more profitable, I know for real. It's all about accumulating good coins and having. Yeah, man. And again, I'm not going to say nobody can fucking make it trading pump fund coins. I know a lot of my friends who have done really well, but I think it's very top heavy with, unless you're very precise, a lot of times have social capital, just like the top of your game. Most of the other people who are just doing it, usually spinning their wheels, are unfortunately losing their account, kind of how gamblers do. If you treat it like gambling and you're not super systematic with it and all that, like, it's really easy to get rinsed. Whereas I believe, just like in 23 and 24, the people who buy the great coins during these corrections and simply just take profits on the way up outperform 90 something percent of the people who go the other route. That's just the way I view it. And I think if you really love the pump fund shit, do it with a smaller percentage of your port. That's just kind of my thoughts. Brent, any futures trades in your UN currently? Yes. So ETH and SOL, those are the ones I stick to, and I'm talking about perps. ETH, as you guys could probably saw from my tweets. Let me pull this up while I pull ETH up. I started building. I was very patient this time. I learned from past years. Got stopped out in heavy profit in my long that I started. Um, in was accumulating down, was down here, got stopped out at around break even, maybe a little bit of profit. Yeah, I got it. A little bit of profit right here. And then was slow because of past years. I've learned to not be too anxious, kind of waited to start to accumulate a long run down in the 1900 area, came down a little bit more, obviously, but very low leverage, 5x, building slowly. And then once we started seeing more momentum, around right above 2, started adding very heavily to my long. And I've taken profits a few times here, added here on that 2200 dip, took profits on the way up, added a bit here in the last few weeks. But yeah, I'm long with an average entry on ETH of in the, I think, 2300 now that I've added a few times. But yeah, to answer your question, I'm long AF, fucking ETH and SOL. I think they both go way higher here, especially ETH. I think it's really going to shock a lot of people here. I think it goes to 5K very quickly. What about you, bro? You trading leverage? You trading perps on this? But yeah, I treat leverage. I did a video earlier. We talked about it a few weeks ago, but the way I treat leverage trading is similar to the way I treat spot trading. Is I'm accumulating longs at the end of what I believe are corrections and taking profits on the way up. It's definitely a slower game, not as exciting in the short term, but it's been a good strap for me. Already in the group. Shout out to you, bro. One of the best telegrams. Thank you. When do I think retail will come back in the meme space? Timing's always fucking hard to tell, Carl. But I will say, I don't know if you guys remember in January of 25, November to December of 25, the chill guy meta came out. I know most of chill guy was pumped because of crypto Twitter, but you noticed there was a bit of people from the mainstream starting like that who don't normally talk about crypto or haven't for years start to talk about meme coins again. You saw a lot of these TikToks coming out randomly from normies who say, "Oh, I can buy fucking $5 of this coin and it's going to go up 10,000x." Like that kind of like irrational normie behavior started popping up. But then, of course, Bitcoin topped out, which again, Bitcoin drives everything. And then you got Trump. Trump just came out and just fucking put the nail in the coffin short term for meme coins. But I do think as Bitcoin moves up, usually within a few weeks, I think stuff's going to pick up. Maybe it takes a couple more months. Maybe there's something that pops off tomorrow, some kind of main catalyst. But I would say in the coming months, I expect if Bitcoin, as long as it doesn't give us another 1 month run and pulls back, I think as Bitcoin starts to run into Q4, Q1, we're going to see a strong period. And I expect 2026 very likely see a big influx of new capital from crypto into crypto from the general public for the first time in several years. That's my take. That's kind of what I'm predicting. Yeah, no, we'll do the giveaway at the end of the stream, bro. Relax, relax. It's my first real bull. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you for being here. What brought you into crypto? It's the pump fund stuff, NFTs. Yeah, we'll look at NFTs right now here to close it off. Probably be on here for another 30 or so. When do you, okay, I already said that. Man, we are at 240 on SOL and Bitcoin all-time highs. Still half the CT seems dead. Yeah, again, half the CT is full ported into either meme coins like we're talking about, or they're trading 50K market cap shit coins. A lot of people exited everything at the bottom. A lot of people got rinsed into the wrong AI coins. So you got to understand, until the coins that most people are in on crypto Twitter, or the pump fund type stuff, which is where most people are at on crypto Twitter, I would say a lot of the people, depending on who you follow, uh, until that stuff starts going up, you're going to see sentiment be seemingly shit. But again, most people on crypto Twitter only give a fuck. And this is, I'm not even talking shit on people. I think this is just human psychology for the most part. Most people only focus on price action. They'll say the only thing they care about when they say, let's, for example, USDUC looks good here, you'll ask them what they mean, and they'll just say, oh, the chart looks bad for the last 2 weeks, or price is down for the last 2 weeks. Whereas, like we know about corrective structures, there's a lot more that goes into if something bullish rather than if price is down. And then on top of that, they ignore all the fucking obvious signs in the world that these coins are going to go up and all that. And most people, just the way I guess humans are, is that they have to wait until everybody else is bullish or until price validates that. And at the end of the day, you can catch some stuff like that. But I think the greatest winners are the people that are able to take big bets or just take bets on things early on when the uncertainty is high. Because at the end of the day, some stuff is just shit and isn't going to go up, but there's plenty of stuff, but pretty much the uncertainty, the upside that it has is correlated to the uncertainty that people have. VFriends, for example, a lot of people are doubting it in the Web3 world. I think is just a no-brainer and it's going to go crazy in this next NFT bull run. But the prices that they're at now, over 90% down from all-time highs, are directly correlated to the amount that people are doubting it. That's just one example. So to answer your question, yep, people are not excited right now. Most people are going to become excited when they see their meme coins and or the pump fund trenches start to heat up again. Yeah, I trade perps. Again, sometimes I get eaten up on fees. Sometimes if I'm first starting, but again, if I'm catching these big moves like ETH, for example, I'm up over 100% with leverage on my original entry. So you can do the math. Even with taking profits on the way up, it's very lucrative. Even if you have to get eaten by fees sometimes. I don't recommend if you're a short-term trader to be holding trades like that because you're going to get eaten up. But if you're attempting to catch a larger move, it's worth it. Depends on your situation, Rojan. Everybody's different. To me, had a really good year. I have a lot of profits I've taken from other stuff, and I have a lot of dry powder. But everybody's situation is different. You know, some people Might have stopped a couple weeks ago. Some people start buying until the second that retail comes back. I think everybody's different. Um, everybody just has different goals. I always think it's a good idea to keep a little bit of dry powder, not always keep a little bit because you never know how much lower you could go. I mean, that's usually a good thing to go by. But what coins you been buying lately? For the most part, I've been buying a lot of different shit. But for the most part, been buying a lot of my core memes, Giga SPX, ticker Bitcoin, MOG, stuff that are still under, a couple hundred million. Been buying some creator tokens lately. Again, creator tokens, talked about it a little bit at the top of the show. Definitely run that back after if you haven't, if you missed that. But I think the overall category has a chance to go viral. With that being said, there's not too many creator tokens out there right now. You have the Gainsey stream, which unfortunately, whatever happened with that. I had a bit of Rasmer, a lot of drama around that recently. I think I really like what's it called, Giat, which again, some people might see that as a singular meme, but if you look at this guy Frankie LaPena, has millions of followers. You guys probably know this guy. Obviously, I won't even describe him. You'll just fucking um, this guy right here. Everybody's probably seen this guy on Instagram, TikTok. He has this coin Giat that he's had for multiple months that he's still been building through the whatever. He's posted it on his TikTok a few times, but I think in a time where meme coins are going to be strong again, somebody like him with a huge reach, a coin like that could do really well. He's also streaming high production on Pump Fun as well. So I think the creator meta has legs, could have legs. There's not a lot of coins to invest in right now, frankly, if I'm being honest. But if that CCM kind of creator tokens meta takes off, Pump the token because of the flywheel attached to it. I think Pump is just going to go up no matter what. I think that's the no brainer hold. But yeah, to answer your question, movement memes, some creator tokens, a lot of AI, Tau, PAL AI, a lot of stuff in the higher market cap AI category, some gaming stuff like Superverse that might take a little bit of time to play out. Buying a lot of, not so much the last few weeks, but bought a lot of NFTs over the last few months. Just different stuff that I think are really going to do well over this coming months. Why is my Twitter bugging out? You can hear me, right? Okay, cool. I don't know why. Okay, there it is. Face cam when? Pretty soon, bro. Airdrop bought me here 2 years back. Airdrop. What airdrop was it? But fuck yeah, man. Good to see that. VFriends is no brain, man. I absolutely agree with you. Fuck yeah, fuck yeah, Jeremy. Bro is a master of futures trading. Let's just say I went through a lot of fucking L's early on in Forex trading. But I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I remember Giat was one of the early investors. Nice, man. If you were to start crypto afresh, what would you know now? How will you build up capital? By buying coins right now when uncertainty's high, buying coins that have survived these corrections before. Every time Bitcoin's gone out of these corrections, that still have strong movements behind them, and then taking profits on the way up. Again, it's going to take patience. A lot of people are going to call you idiot. Sometimes they're going to doubt you. They're going to tell you these coins are bad risk to reward while they trade like a 60K market cap shitcoin. Like, I just sound salty, but I'm just kidding. But and not sure if you've talked about this, but XVM. Yeah, I haven't really touched XVM. It took a 90% dip. It's usually pretty sus when a coin does that. But I don't really have a strong fucking opinion on this coin at all, bro. Let's see. Did it bounce back? Kinda. See, to me, if you're going to be completely honest, if you see to me, if you're going to be completely honest here, like this looks like to me very likely like the middle or could be forming a bigger correction here, and I could see it coming down again. If it clears obviously 0.50 or goes up even 2x from here, very good chance that it's bottomed. But then I could also see it doing this. Yeah, I don't really have a strong opinion on XVM. I could see it going either way. Already down 80, 70, 80%. So can't really give you a strong opinion on it in any manner. In the chart, even the chart, it's a big correction. I could see it going back down more. So if it did go back down one more time, you still believe in the long term prospects of it. That's probably where you'd want to buy. But again, I can't really tell you much on that side. Explain your exit strategy when I should be taking profits. I'm up 4x on Pengu. I can share with you my profit taking strategy if you want to check out my full profit taking strategy video / write up. You can check it out in the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. If you type in ABTPP, stands for Always Be Taking Partial Profits, you'll see the video and write up I've done. Posted it a few times in there. Pretty much what I do is you've got to set up a profit taking strategy ahead of time so that you eliminate the emotions out of it and just can have it set up. What I do is 3 to 5x on a coin. I'll take 25% off. It depends if it stops at 3x, I'll take it there. If it stops like 4x, you might want to take it there. Although I do think Pengu is coiling up to go higher. And then 10x, I'll take off another 25%. 15x or around there, I'll take off another 25% off. So on and so forth. That way, it allows you to take profits on the way up, lock in some gains while getting risk free, and it gives you peace of mind, all that good shit that you want, and just gives you the best of both worlds, right? To buy and hold while locking in some gains. So that's kind of how I go about it. But depends what kind of coins you're trading. Stuff like Pengu, I think the 3 to 5x, 25%, 10x, so on and so forth. But of course, you can everybody has different type of trades, coins they're trading, all that stuff. When do you think we top? Again, it's a complicated question. I think if there's a lot of signs to point that we're just in a completely different era for Bitcoin, where we're seeing like multi-month corrections instead of up only, which again could lead to a very likely the 4-year cycle where Bitcoin tops out on the 4th year, which would be this year. I think that's very unlikely. I think we at least head into 2026. If we continue to grind up, maybe Bitcoin just continues to grind up with small corrections for years. But if Bitcoin just goes up from 120K up to 300 or 400K, we see meme coins 10 or 20xing. We see ETH and everything going crazy. I think there's a chance at that point we get a longer term bear market. But I think the biggest indicators we'll look for are certain overheated indicators like sentiment being crazy bullish, the opposite of what it was this month. The Coinbase being at the top of the store, coins being up 10 to 20x, stuff like that. At that point, you want to be taking profits at that point. I think there's going to always be a point where these meme coins see blow off tops and big corrections. So it's a difficult question. Yeah, I'll look at NFTs right now, bro. Do you have a story from 2021 that you learned from the most that helped shape how you approach the market? Not a singular story that I can think of right now from 2021. I would just say I wish I would have taken more profits on the way up. Like I took a decent amount, but I probably left 75, 80% of the gains on the table from if I would have just had a profit taking strategy set up right now. But yeah, I think the biggest stuff that I would have learned from is just not taking enough profits or just not buying stuff that I had conviction in. But yeah, I think taking profits is just fucking everything. Do you ever sell your Bitcoin? Me personally, like I've adopted the mindset over the last few years that I'm not selling any of my Bitcoin, ETH, and SOL. I'll take some profits into stables and stuff like that, which obviously you use for whatever else. But as far as the Bitcoin stack that I have, no, I don't plan on selling any of it, probably ever. Any new NFTs? Yeah. Guys, whoever joined the YouTube, at least the videos and subject. Thanks, man. But yeah, let's look at NFTs, man. Very fucking quiet overall. Again, not much news-wise going on for NFTs other than Courtyard kind of being in the spotlight right now. And as far as the founder had an interview with Thread Guy yesterday talking about how they're doing $80 million in volume with people trading the NFTs, the tokenized versions of these cards. 80 million a month. 80 million a month going through Courtyard, and I think it's interesting and could spark like a huge RWA thing in NFTs.
Other than that, not a lot of. I think the meme or NFTs are kind of waiting on a catalyst for the most part, like a lot of markets are. And whether that be just prices just going to a certain point, or there being some type of business or something that launches an NFT collection, I think that's probably more likely. I think people are kind of underestimating what this regulatory clarity is going to allow founders to do. Like back in 2021, you obviously had the Gary V's and the bigger people who took the risk and they kind of put their leg out or kind of whatever to kind of talk about NFTs early on. But for the most part, especially in 22, 23, with how the SEC was set up, it was very counterproductive or just not smart for people to start. A lot of gray area for starting NFT collections or launching a coin. I think a lot of that is being cleared up. So I think we could easily see somebody launch an artist or somebody launch an NFT collection or a game, a big game adopt an NFTs or something that could just spark the NFTs. But I think generally the technology is going to be used in RWAs. I think companies are going to, as digital wallets become more popular, probably with stable coins being a big thing that drives that, we're going to see different companies give people digital collectibles for authenticity, just for whatever. I think there's going to be a world where when you buy something from Nike, there's going to be a digital collectible version that goes along with it that you can use to authenticate it and just to have in your wallet to look at. I think just in the same way that people have a social media account, and nowadays digital wallets are going to be a way that people can express themselves. You see Gary Vee's talk about this in 2021. Like I think digital wallets in general are going to be a very popular thing. And in that world, NFTs in general are just going to be very common. People are going to start to realize, oh, fuck, this technology is super transformative. How can I buy the early digital artifacts? Or how can I invest in early NFT companies? And I think it'll just create a large rush into NFTs. Again, that could be next month, it could be next year. I generally think 25, 26 are going to be a strong time for not only crypto, but NFTs as well. So for me, I'm just Bitcoin. I'm taking a concentrated bet in each of a couple concentrated bets in each of the three areas that I think are going to dominate the NFTs next NFT wave, which is top IPs from 2021. My biggest bet of all being VFriends. See this load. I don't know why my internet's fucked. I think it's a VPN I have on. But my biggest bet, VFriends have, top 10 holder in both collections. I just have an immense, despite the kind of sentiment amongst Web3 about VFriends, I'm just incredibly bullish on VFriends in general and just Gary V to create, the next great IP. So heavily in VFriends, I have a mutant, a few Yuga assets. I have, a few other IPs. Uh, I think Pudgy Penguins and stuff are going to do incredibly well. Again, my concentrated bet is VFriends in that sector. I think meme coin NFTs are going to do incredibly well. I have Sproto Gremlins, 5 of these. I have a few Aeons, a few random meme coin NFTs like Turbo Toads. I think meme coin NFTs are going to be a very dominant narrative in 26. And then art, my heavily concentrated bet is in Wonky Stonks. I'm a huge chart guy, big believer in Kaleo, who kind of founded this project in 2021. And yeah, those are my three big main bets. But I think VFriend Series 2 is a good entry. I think a lot of these coins, other than like Pudgy, probably still going to go way higher, but of course it has a little bit more stuff that's been going on, so it's higher in price. But I think any of these great, meme coin NFTs that are already existing, the Wonky Stonks, VFriend Series 2, Pudgies, Azuki, any of those ecosystems I think are going to do really well. And you're going to have an opportunity here for a while, or at least for a bit longer, I think, to get like really good discounts on these things. I don't know if you guys saw the Bitcoin ticker Bitcoin. They're releasing an NFT of the backpack, the famous Bitcoin backpack that started it all. And then I think you can redeem for a physical backpack of that as well. So 0.2 ETH, $900 for a backpack. You can tell me if you think that's a little fucking steep, but who knows? Might be a scarce digital asset. Only 11 minted. Damn. But Moonbird's obviously going crazy. I would assume Moonbird's probably continue to do well. I really like VFriends at versus everything else right now, but that's just a personal, preference. I would assume Moonbird's probably continue to do well as well. Manu, yeah, Manu does look good, bro. I'll look at Manu for you. NFT run this Q4. Possible. NFTs could run in Q4, but or they could wait for 26. You never know. Timing these things are just very hard. Just gotta buy and hold. Yeah, Manu does look decent. Decent. I could see it running back here. Uh, sorry, I'm not trying to click on that. Yeah, I'll probably stay on for another 10 minutes with you guys. Dog Nari already looked at. Doge Nari looks pretty decent. Damn, I would buy any of it. Looks good on the chart, Doge Nari, but I don't know anything else about it. Majors still pumping as we talk. Yeah. Yeah, I'd buy some V Friends series too. I think that's going to be one of the most legendary accumulations in all of NFT looking back. But yeah, I'm going to hang out and review some other shit. Let me know if there's any videos or anything that's happened this week you want me to look at. But yeah, I'll hang out next 10 or 15 minutes before we sign off. But if you guys want to like, retweet, comment on the stream, definitely check out the playback if you hopped in late. We talked about a lot of shit, Bitcoin, and why I think the majors, just like in 23 and 24, are going to lead to an extremely strong period for memes, alts, pump fund volume. A lot of cool shit that's happened since this last corrected period started that I think is going to drive and very likely fuel what could be the strongest period that crypto's ever seen. I know that sounds crazy, but again, all of this regulatory clarity stuff happened during this last 12 months since the coins have been down. So, opinions on the Charlie incident. I think anytime somebody dies in general, I don't give a fuck who they are. I think it's incredibly sad. And I think if people, doesn't matter. I don't know. I think a lot of people, again, it's not even about sides. I like to, again, I think don't really do the left right paradigm stuff. Obviously, I have my own beliefs on individual topics and individual things. That's kind of how I like to do things, not box myself into something. But I do think it's incredible how people can kind of reason in their head to like why they're happy or even like justify like, oh well, I mean he said this, so like unless if someone's like deliberately murdering somebody, and I know everybody's argument is, oh, like the way he talks, leads to deaths or whatever the fuck, or people being discriminated against or whatever, and that could be, whatever. But I think it's incredible how people like believe opposite of them, that they justify in their head that it's like, oh yeah, it's sad, but somebody had to do it, like stuff like that. It's just like I think there's something off, like, and it might not even be the people's fault, but I think we're kind of going into a time where it's kind of scary, where people have kind of lost their humanity. A lot of people, right? Um, so I think it's incredibly sad, and I hope it stops at this, right? And I hope people are start to. I don't know. I think he was great. His content, as far as just having civil discourse and having a place where people could talk about stuff. And unfortunately, people viewed that as like him harassing college students and all that. I don't really view it that way. I feel like anybody who's having open discourse and actually allowing people to talk about the stuff. He said something I saw in this quote. It's like the way you disarm people or whatever is like, just by talking about it or giving people a way to talk about it, talk about shit. So I don't know. It's sad whenever anybody dies like that. Soul Pump announced today they're launching a coin next week. You a fan? Soul Pump, I don't really use Soul Pump, but I'm sure you can probably tell me more than me. You think if there's a lot of users and a lot of goodwill around them, then I'm sure the coin will do well. And you just got to be careful. Take profits on the way up, at least partially, on these big hyped up airdrops, because just like we saw with Pengu and a lot of these other, most of the time they dump out. Pump, obviously, probably the most recent example. Thoughts on Lofi? I really like Lofi too here. I think if you keep it simple, going into a strong meme coin period, the top memes on the top 3 to 5 chains will do well. Sui being a top chain, Lofi being the top meme on Sui. I like Lofi's chances here. On top of that, friends of mine have actually met the Lofi team, and they're actually doxed and like seem to actually be trying to build like a longer term thing with it. So I like Lofi's chances. The fuck's Bitcoin doing? Ooh, ETH. Longs are fucking printing. Shout out to anybody who's holding ETH longs. Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. God, I always forget to fucking change the screen sometimes, man. But Sui moving up, Bitcoin nicely. If and when Bitcoin clears 117K, this prior bounce high, I think it's going to accelerate very quickly here. But chances are, since we already are up however much off this low here, I think very chances bottom. Very likely that the bottom is in, and Bitcoin moving up with ETH and SOL is very healthy. We want Bitcoin to continue to move up because a lot of times the way these cycles end is by Bitcoin just kind of consolidating out. And I don't think it looked like that at all. It looked very corrective in nature. But let's say Bitcoin would have consolidated here above 110 while everything else ran. Usually that's not a good sign. But the fact that Bitcoin corrected with everything else and is moving up with everything else is a good sign for longevity, I think. Also, wanted to know if you have any knowledge on softwares using creating art and animation for coins. My producer just let me know that he does have an answer for that. Yeah, yeah. So my buddy can't stop me now. Shout out to him. Helped me a lot with these streams over the last few months. A good buddy of mine. Definitely check him out on Twitter. Can't stop me now. CSMN. Uh, he he's very big up on that. He's taught me a lot about the stuff what he's doing. He said nano bananas, which is Google's right, it's new like video, just this huge thing that encompasses a lot of things, and then ChatGPT as well for animations. Shout out to Can't Stop Me Now is making some great stuff too. But shout out to You Know Who I Am. I think that's how you say it. This guy's been sending me a lot of cool. No, I know I'm not sharing. A lot of cool shit on a lot of cool like AI looking. So a lot of the AI stuff looks crazy and kind of like everybody else's, but he's made me some really cool shit recently. Amazing day, strong CME close. Do you think we see some weekend reach? See that kind of stuff, Mert, like it's really impossible to know. Like anybody who tells you like, oh, I think we're going to pull back 1.2% here and then we're going to go up. Like the short term is literally anybody's guess. It's literally impossible to tell when something's going to stop. I think what's really important to do is, and what people do the opposite of, most people, is you got to focus on when price is correcting. And if that price looks corrective into good other things going on, that's when you want to, that's the more predictable thing, is that next move after that. But trying to guess when a move's going to stop when it's already happening, anybody's guess. Normally, obviously, weekends are pretty slow, but Adidas says contact him. Whoever asked about that, man, you guys might want to. Thoughts on Corey? I don't hold any Corey, but I've been seeing a lot of raids and shit with Corey. I don't. Again, kind of a singular meme. With that being said, it looks pretty strong, corrective chart wise. Kind of looks nice. Looks nicer than a lot of coins just on the chart, and it is moving impulsively out of here. So just the way it's looking right now with this consolidation, I wouldn't be surprised if Corey does really well. Tether to launch USB stablecoin. Did that just happen right now? That happened this morning, though. Okay, yeah, 5 hours ago. Yeah, they had talked about that on this Bankless interview, how Tether for the most part has been kind of complete like an offshore thing because it's just, you got to have different regulations in the US, but it looks like they're venturing into the US side of things. Thanks, bro. I appreciate that. Cute. Thanks, Richie. Fuck else is going on? Yep, gotta take profits. Shout out to Boss Man. Everybody follow him if you haven't already. Rev Run. It's a good buddy of mine. We just met recently the last few months. Good guy. He's been on the stream a few times. He's been doing some Pump Fund streams. One of the more entertaining and informative people I've seen on Pump Fund. Definitely check his shit out. Good guy. Shout out to Vero. Shout out to Griff. A lot of cool people, Panda. You guys see that Wrecked Drinks is partnering with MoonPay? It's pretty fucking big. Big corrective move. Shout out to you, brother. Y'all hear about the what country was that in? Nepal? How they like did a community or a government takeover on Discord. Essentially, they like overthrew whatever leaders were, and they like, from what I understand, they elected a new leader over Discord, and that new leader is accepted amongst from the military now. Pretty fucking gnarly. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
That on yourself to give yourself the best chance to succeed in life. Whether it's like AI, obviously, which is coming for jobs, and just like the overall state of things. I'll say this. When I first got into crypto, like I was working a job and I decided to quit 4 years ago and just go all in. I was like, all right, I'm in a position where I just got into crypto. I'm figuring this stuff out and I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna learn how to do this and I'm going to seek out all the opportunities, whether it's through trading or making content. And it worked. But the only reason why I was able to pull it off is because I basically cut off my job and everything else. And I said, I'm just going to dedicate all my time to
Great
this.
question, X.
And I
Right.
clocked in every single day, regardless of whether the market.
So, how will your research and investment strategy change as the market heats up? Amazing question. So, if you guys read my tweets, you might assume that I'm just like a fucking perma bull, which at all times I'm just going to be by default just saying Bitcoin's going higher, memes are going higher, like, and it might seem like that over the last year, but it's because these coins are just been in this corrective period for so long. You know, it's possible to time these things. I will, for the most part, be a perma bull on Bitcoin, ETH, probably Sol, VFriends, stuff like that that I think just have a very long term future. Everything else that has yet to prove themselves, the what will change versus now is that I will, again, it's impossible to time the top perfectly, but instead of just being irrationally bullish, right now just permable, like I'm just buying everything. As prices go up, as we start to see prices 5 to 10x, as we start to see sentiment and everybody start to shift on the side of the boat of being bullish, I will start to take profits on the way up and being less like we're going higher. We're going higher. I'll be more cautioning people to what I believe is we might not be at the top, but very good chance that things are overheated and you might want to be at least taking partial profits. But that's where having a profit taking system, like always be taking partial profits for me, where I have a profit taking system set up to where I'm in these coins early during these corrections. I'm able to take profits on the way up and lock in gains to where I don't have to guess where the cycle's at. I don't have to guess where we're at in the cycle. I don't have to guess whether we're ending tomorrow. I just take profits on the way up, lock in gains so that I'm good either way, essentially, right? You hope that the cycle goes higher, but I think a lot of people buy into this myth where they're just going to be able to buy everything at the bottom and then sell everything right at the top. And it's just not how it plays out. Most people, your brain, you're going to get drunk off the gains. You're going to think, oh, I'll just a little bit higher. And then all of a sudden it comes down and then you convince yourself it's going to go up again. So yeah, just having a profit taking system set up. What's going to be different about me personally is you will hear me in different signaling, telling people where I'm still very bullish long term on the industry, but these meme coins that are up 5, 10, 20x over the last couple of months, maybe now is the time to be a little bit more cautious. That's how I think that's how you'll see me different. That's how it changes for me. Just me personally, on a personal basis, I'm taking profits on the way up and definitely a lot less aggressive with my buying, being more cautious, sitting on my hands, not being, so gung ho to like throw capital at everything. Hey, FFV, what's up, bro? Shout out to this fucking guy. Him and I have not had the pleasure of meeting. Pleasure is kind of crazy, but no, we have not had the chance to meet each other yet. But he's becoming one of my fucking greatest friends on the timeline. I love this guy. No, I am definitely buying meme coins, bro. You should be too. Again, movement memes. There's a difference. Movement memes. Bloody weekend, then full send. Possibly. I don't know what the weekend's going to hold. I think we're going higher, bro, over the coming weeks. So shout out to FFV. If you guys are not following this guy, one of my favorite accounts on Twitter. Him and I probably need to run a stream soon here. He's streaming as well on Twitter. He's ahead of the game here with the face cam and all that good shit. One of the most insightful, smartest, funniest guy on crypto Twitter. I'm gonna end the glazing here, but definitely check him out. Gotta love you too, bro. You should join Unstable Spaces. Yeah, I should. Shout out to those guys. You Gong and Small P&L. Small P&L just and I connected just recently, but you Gong, he's probably the reason. Him and my friend Cuppy Cat, probably the reason why I got into USDC, or is the reason why I got into USDC. That guy is in my fucking inbox for weeks. I could have gotten in even lower, but luckily got in at 7 million, and it's been a huge play. Yeah, let's definitely do a stream soon. Coffee Holic Bonk says huge W. Yeah. Anything else happen? I really like fucking Giga here at under 150. I think it's easily going to $1 billion. But that's crazy how the fucking sentiment is still so shit. I think as these meme coins and the stuff that most people are actually in starts moving, that's when you're going to see everybody get into to whatever, into like really people getting excited again. But dude, it is still fucking just like a quiet vibe. I think a lot of it has to do with a few days ago, obviously, rightfully so. People aren't as like fast to engage in crypto, like stuff that's not as pressing, I guess. But shout out to fucking Gleb. Clemente put out a good video today on the CCM and creator capital markets. How FFV and I were talking about too. How I think the concept makes sense. There's not a lot of great coins out right now. Not gonna lie, but I think if and when this thing plays out, I think Pump Coin, because of the flywheel attached to it, is just going to do well no matter, like, very likely, right? So what was I going to say? Rect looks really fucking good here too. I think Rect is going to enter another like league here, like above $1 billion. Yeah, let me share the screen. Yeah, Rect already moving out of this corrective channel, already halfway through. I think it's very likely straight impulsive candles to the upside, goes above here now. And I mean, there's a lot of, they've hinted at expanding to energy drinks and a lot of different stuff. I think we're going to see companies in NFT land, but probably outside NFT land, are probably watching this brand and thinking, how can I launch a token and attach a certain amount of it to whatever product it is? I think, for example, VFriends, which I'm just incredibly bullish on, I think for them, for example, if and when they launch a coin, could attach it to every single physical product. And essentially every single person, Luca talked about doing this with some of the toys, but attaching a certain amount of the coin to the product to where every single time they buy the product, they can at least recoup a small amount of that product, making them 50% off or even, 100% recoup. You never know, something like that. And then attach to a small percentage of them a higher amount, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. Essentially, what that does is create more of a chase. Whereas a lot of these cards, there's the chase for the Charizard, or there's a chase for the fucking Bubble Mew or whatever in Pokemon. It adds another chase to it where, not only are you chasing the chase cards, which might be worth $1,000, but potentially you might get a redemption card that gives you $1,000 of Vcoin or $1,000 of Pengu. And maybe that's not legal now, but I could see a world. I mean, Rect already did it. Rect attached down here before the coin went up. They attached to their first launch a certain amount of the Rect coin to every single box. And I think right now they got like $50 of the coin or something, and that coin is worth what, multiple hundreds of dollars now, like 5-10x above that, from what I understand. So I think this could be a revolution in like a way that, token. It might take a little bit to play out, but if and when that happens, I think Rect is just set up to do really well. Already at 400 million. I mean, it's just like a 2x from reaching above a billion. It's pretty nuts. Bring Bossman in. Yeah, it'll happen. When you see Rolex every day in the timeline, it's time to take profit. Yeah and no. I think, when you see like everybody buying a Rolex, yeah, for sure. Do more collab streams will make your, I agree, man. Do you think wormholes and bridging to multi-chains is bullish for these new movement coins? Yeah, I don't think it can hurt, right, man? Like I think from what I understand, I don't think it takes away from it, right? I don't think it splits liquidity or anything. From what I understand, I don't see how it could hurt, and it just allows people to buy the coin. I assume it still contributes to a move up, like like normal. Time to grab a coffee. Yes, sir. I already took some caffeine before this. But before we sign off, anything else going on recently? Again, if you guys are just popping on, I appreciate you guys so much for being on. Definitely check out the earlier part of the show, where on the top of the show we talked about Bitcoin and how I think very likely on the brink of what could be the strongest period that crypto's ever seen, with regulatory clarity, all this stuff that's happening during the last 12 months. Bitcoin very likely going to, and the entire market will likely do what it did in 23 and 24, where as Bitcoin came out of its multi-month corrections, the memes and alts start to dominate. And especially if we get more than 3, maybe even more than 6 months of upside for Bitcoin, you can imagine what the memes and alts and everything else will do, just strictly based on other periods before we had regulatory clarity, before we had the president and every regulatory body on our side, or at least not being predatory. I think all of this is going to lead to what could be, again, a stronger period than any of us have ever seen, especially the people that joined the last couple of years. So I'm fucking excited. I'm bullish on the industry. I'm so excited to be here. So excited to be blessed to be able to do streams like this. Like, I won't go too much into it, but a couple of years ago, like, I was down bad in debt, just lost, crypto. Like, at that point, I'd already been doing it for 5 or 6 years. Didn't know what the fuck I was going to do, but just kept with it and kept learning, kept doubling down when other people were doing NFTs, doubling down with crypto and charts, networking, saving money, getting back in the game. And then out 2 years later, made insane life-changing money, been able to help my family, have a Telegram channel that I have the privilege of posting into 40,000 people all around the world, able to be on streams like this with you guys. Like, I couldn't fucking imagine, that I'd be here just a couple of years ago. And again, this isn't to brag. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, who the fuck am I? I'm just telling you, if you're lost a lot of money this year, you feel like you're young or old, you feel like you have no fucking hope. You're broke. You lost your entire account. You got drained. It doesn't matter what it is, especially if you're not in a third world country. You can and will bounce back. You just got to stick with it. You got to learn from what your mistakes. Stick with the industry. Don't give up. Give yourself a couple years. Keep pushing. Buy and hold coins rather than gambling, and keep networking, all that good shit, and it will work out. So, just got a notification from fucking Pudgy Party. But with that, guys, I love you guys. Tuesdays and Fridays, probably going to add a Twitter space here coming up. Definitely check out the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. Shoot me a follow, like, comment, retweet, bookmark. So we get it out on the algorithm. With that, I'm trying to forget if I forgot anything. I don't think so. Friday, be back. I'm sorry, Tuesday, be back at 11 a.m. PST for another great stream. With that, just be more bullish and have a great weekend. Be safe, and I'll see you guys on Here, a couple more questions in the chat. Are you in short-term leverage positions too? Yeah, I'm holding my ETH and SOL longs. Thoughts on longevity, altruistic coins like Kind? Don't know too much. A lot of people, you got to understand, will take advantage of these type of what's it called, charity plays and stuff. But with that being said, I mean, there's obviously some good stuff out there. So I really hope Kind does well for you and is doing well for whatever the goal of it is. I heard whoever was behind the ledger hacks made like $300. Yeah, I saw that too. Your story is inspiring to have a lot of life changing. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for the stream. Thanks, Dr. Duck. See you, Bren. What's up, Barbara? All right, man. Goodbye. Yo, Rojan, I appreciate you, brother. All right, man. Goodbye. Love the stream. Yeah, shout out to you guys. With that, I'm going to go ahead and get some food. I haven't eaten yet today. Gendar, what's up, bro? Hey, came back. How are you? I'm amazing, dude. You're joining right now just as we're about to end. But definitely check back the stream, and we will be back again Tuesday at 11 a.m. PST. Definitely check out the YouTube. Like I said, Boss Man Calls Telegram, obviously, TikTok, Instagram with either Brent Trades or Brent Trades with two S's. And love you guys. Shout out to Dex, shout out to Spaceless, Space to Faceless, Cryptolicious, Dex Mooner, everybody. Love you guys. I'll see you on Tuesday.